What's up, you guys? Welcome back. If you are new, my name is Jess. So today's video is going to be a story time about how I got jumped at 13. This is actually kind of gruesome. So if it grosses you out to talk about broken bones and like blood and stuff, this is probably not the video for you. Go ahead and click out of this one. I'll see y'all in my next one. But yeah, today's video is just kind of a gruesome story time. Before we get started, I just want to let y'all know my townhouse community is literally obsessed with the removal of leaves. So every single day, every time I try to film, they're always just here with their leaf blowers and their lawnmowers, and it's really annoying. You know, I feel like when I was a kid, we just raked the leaves and jumped in them, but this townhouse community is like, no. If we see a leaf, we're coming for it. So that's what's going on outside my house until it starts snowing. It's December 3rd. It should probably start snowing eventually. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. So I really hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. I actually got to go to Arkansas to spend Thanksgiving with Reese's family for the 6th year in a row. 6th year? That sounded weird. For the 6th year in a row. I love his family. We usually play games and it's just so fun. Unfortunately, it was raining, so we couldn't play clothesline golf, which I completely suck at, but it is so fun. Instead, we played dominoes and, not to brag, but your girl won because she's a convict and she played dominoes in prison, and I even hold them like a felon. It's so ridiculous. So if you're following me on Instagram, you already know that. But I had a great time. The girls had a great time, and it's unfortunate that we live so far away from his family because I love them. Great family. Anyway, for today's video, let me get comfy. Today's video involves a story time of when I was 13 years old. Now, I just want to let y'all know I was dumb. I was a young kid, I was lost, and this story time is actually difficult for me to share because it was so gruesome and it was so rough on me, but I just want this to be known. I'm not playing the victim. I was at fault here. I deserved some repercussions for my actions. So, you know, I don't know if this is kind of rambling because I haven't told you the story yet, but I was a dumb kid. I was just ignorant. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get into the video. So, I was 13 years old and I was a complete weirdo. And when I say that, I mean like I had no friends, I was introverted, I would read books by myself, I was just a very isolated and alone kid. I was also bullied a lot. I was bullied a lot for many things that I get bullied here on YouTube for, like my teeth or my eyebrows or how I dress or whatever. So all of the same things that I hear now when I'm 30, I heard back then when I was 12 and 13. So I was bullied a lot, and my mom's boyfriend at the time tried to teach me how to fight. And I remember him trying to teach me how to fight at like 11, 12 because I had to defend myself. And everyone always underestimated me because I'm small, but I'm scrappy. And I remember my brother, who was older than me, he would come home and he'd get in fights all the time too. He's also small. People would underestimate him. And then he would always get in trouble for beating people up. He would always win fights and then get in trouble when the kid started with him and hit him first. And when he defended himself, he got in trouble. So I saw that a lot growing up, and I was bullied a lot. So my mom's boyfriend kind of taught me how to fight. However, in this moment, it did not help me at all. So it was about 10 o'clock at night, and me and my only friend in the world snuck out to go to this party. And, you know, I had just met her. We were newly friends, like newlyweds, you know? No, but I had just met her. We weren't friends for very long. We'd probably only been hanging out for a month or so. So we snuck out, and I remember sneaking out. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the adrenaline. I loved every part of breaking the rules because I was a kid. I was 13. I was a kid. So we get to this party, and I had a few drinks, and my friend is sitting next to this guy. It's his house. They're sitting next to each other on the couch. They're smoking weed, and I'm just kind of hanging out. I don't think I smoked that night, but there's loud music. Everyone's around, and my friend pulls me aside and says, "There's a lockbox upstairs in this drawer. Go get it." And I thought about it for a second, and at first I'm like, no. Like, at first I didn't want to. I thought about it, and I kind of just had like the case of the fuck it's, if you will, and that's really who I was. I would think about it for a second, like, that's probably a bad idea, and then this other side of me would kick, and I would be like, fuck it, we're doing it, let's go, let's do it. So she stayed downstairs with dude and all the people that were partying, and I went upstairs to use the bathroom, and I took my backpack up with me, and I went in this guy's room, and I'm looking all around. I can't find it at first. And I almost went to walk out when I saw this other dresser that I hadn't gone through, and I opened the top drawer and there was a lockbox in it. I didn't try to open it, it was locked, but I just put it in my bag. I went downstairs and I kind of nodded to my friend like, I got it. And she's like, all right, man, it's been real, bye. And she's like, come on. And I just thought, oh, that was so obvious. Like, I just walked downstairs and now that was so obvious. So now I'm just like, this is really stupid. But long story short, we get back to her place and we sneak back in and we pry apart this lockbox. There's about $300 in cash and an 8-ball of cocaine. Now, I just wanted the money. I didn't really care about the coke at that time. So what ended up happening was my friend gave me a tiny bit of money, probably 30, 40 bucks, and she kept the rest of it, which is like ridiculous, right? So she kept the rest of this stolen shit and we started using cocaine. And I called my mom the next morning, it was a Saturday morning, and I said, hey, I just want to stay over at my friend's house one more night. And she said, okay, just come home tomorrow. So I was using it from Friday night all the way to Sunday morning. Sunday morning rolls around, I'm like, oh, I gotta go home. You know, I felt like crap. I hadn't slept much really at all, obviously. So I go to, she lived on this hill and I'm walking down this hill. It was in Hancock, New York. So there is a pizza place at the bottom of this one hill. It's called Little Italy. It's still there today. I just had pizza I just had pizza back in August at Little Italy. But there's this hill and I'm walking down this hill. There's this little pizza place right here and I have to walk kind of like a little ways down the road and then down another street to get home. So it's kind of a ways, it's kind of a walk. It probably would have taken me 15 minutes to get home. So I'm walking to the bottom of her hill. I get to around the bottom of it and 5 girls approach me. So we were at this dude's house. This is his little sister and her friend. So these girls are probably 18, 17, 18. The guy's house, he was about 23, 24, right? I know that sounds crazy. Why is a 13-year-old at this 24-year-old's house? Because I just was. I always hung out with older people than me and it wasn't even like a question. I got in because my friend knew these people and no one ever bothered to ask me how old I was. And I know that sounds so weird, like in what world is that okay? It's not, straight up it's not, but that was my life. So this guy's little sister and her friends came to get this money and get this coke from me. So, I remember seeing them and a part of my brain said run. I just wanted to run. The other part of me had too much pride and too much ego and I couldn't run. I know they're coming for me and I know they're also looking for my friend. I already know what time it is. So one of the girls, his little sister, gets right up in my face and she said, we want to know where our fucking money and coke is. I kind of assess the situation and I'm looking and I just know. I know. They're gonna beat the crap out of me. And I knew what was gonna happen. And I looked her dead in the face and I said, spent the money. The coke's up my nose. And she got mad. I mean, they're mad and they're yelling at me and they're saying all this shit. They're gonna get it out of me one way or the other. This kind of goes on for a minute and sometimes you don't know if when a woman approaches you, she's actually gonna throw hands or if she's just going to yell in your face and make a big scene. And it's just been my experience that women are sometimes not as quick to throw the first punch. And I know everyone has different experiences. This is just my own. I just learned the only way I can win fights is if I throw the first punch because I'm scrappy and because I'm small. So they're yelling at me. I'm kind of assessing the situation and I just knew I'm only gonna get one hit in. Once they all start hitting me, I can't really fight 5 people on one, right? So I'm standing there kind of with my head up like that and I'm just letting her kind of talk. She's spitting in my face, like she's yelling at me. It's like a whole scene. So I made a split-second decision to punch her in the face. So I hit her one time as hard as I could in the face, and as soon as I did that, I mean, I must have not connected for more than a millisecond. I felt a hit to the back of my head, and it just seemed like it happened so fast. I started feeling punches all over my body, everywhere. I fell down to the ground, and they were kicking me in the side, kicking me in the ribs, kicked me in the face. I'm trying to protect myself as best I can just until they go away. And at some point I must have got knocked unconscious, but it's so weird. I felt, as they're kicking me in the side of the ribs, I felt my face like scoot on the pavement more and more and more. And my face was scratched up on one side and I was just my eye was swollen really bad from where I got kicked in the face. It was just bad, you guys. I was all bruised up. My whole body felt like it was just in a car crash. So they're kicking me, they're punching me, they're doing all this shit. One girl even spit on me, and they just left me there. Like, as fast as they came, that's as fast as they left, it felt like. So I'm laying there for a second, and I don't even move. I don't even move. It's just the weirdest thing. Like, I feel like I can't move, you know? And I was just so out of it that I don't remember anything else. So I must have been knocked out and just kind of fell asleep from the concussion. They had to have given me a concussion, because the last thing I really remember was like the scraping of my face on the pavement. Every time they kicked me like that, I felt my face scrape on the ground. So the next thing I know, I'm in a car. So my friend that was at the party with me that stole that stuff from me, her brother was in the pizza place, and he saw kind of what was going on, and I guess he just couldn't get to me in time, or maybe he got to me and they ran off. He put me in his car and he drove me to the hospital. So he had to drive me to Walton, New York to go to the emergency room, because there is no hospital in Hancock, New York. So that was like a 30-minute drive. But I come to, and I'm in a car, I'm in the backseat of this car, and I try to just get up really quick and I couldn't. So I'm sitting, like I'm laying back in the back seat, and I go to sit up in the seat, and I felt like all my bones were broken. Of course they weren't, but I was just in so much pain. My ribs were cracked, my eye was swollen out to here, I had bumps and bruises all over me, I had a lump on the back of my head, really big, and it took me a minute to even like realize all that was wrong. I probably still had adrenaline in my body, so I'm trying so hard to like figure out what is wrong with me. I started to try to breathe really deep, and I couldn't. So I just felt like, I can't even explain it. When your ribs are bruised or cracked or broken, it hurts so bad to breathe, because your ribs are obviously contracting, right? So when you're trying to take deep breaths, oh, I can't even explain this pain. So I was literally like holding myself like this, like kind of crunched over, and I'm like breathing like that, because I couldn't take deep breaths. My nose was broken also. So I get comments occasionally on what the bump in my nose bridge is. I don't know if y'all can tell, this lighting is kind of weird today. My nose was broken. So I remember getting to the hospital, and I remember thinking, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm okay. But I hadn't looked in the mirror. I hadn't seen what my face looked like. My face was so swollen, and I wish I had pictures, but I'm 30. So when I was 13, like you didn't have a phone like this to take pictures with. The pictures that we took were like on these disposable cameras, and I don't even have a picture from back then. But I was in so much pain. I was just hurt, like my whole body hurt. The doctor at the emergency room gave me a prescription, called my parents, went through all of that. My mom had to help me go to the bathroom. And I remember just being in so much pain. My clothes were covered in blood. And for whatever reason, I remember crying because the hoodie that I was wearing wasn't mine. I was in pain, I was hurting, but I was just emotional too, because I just got my ass kicked, right? And I remember crying because it was my friend's hoodie. Girl, she just got you jumped, and when you did get jumped, no one was there to help you, but you're upset that you messed up her hoodie with your blood, like really? But I remember just wanting to cry for a different reason other than the pain. You know what I mean? So I remember saying that out loud, like, oh, I messed up your hoodie, I messed up your hoodie. What sense does that make, right? It doesn't make any sense. I didn't want anyone to know how much pain I was in. And over the years, I have gained a really high tolerance for pain. So a lot of the really painful things that I have been through, I have just muscled through in the best possible way. Like, I will clench my jaw, and I will take my mind somewhere else to focus on anything but the pain. So, you know, I went home and I had a prescription to pain pills, and we all know how that turned out, not well. My friend that was with me at the party that I stole that stuff with, she crushed up pain pills for me, and I snorted them. You know, I did the same thing when I went to the dentist, you know, at 14. It was a normal thing for me. You know, I was already introduced to that world, and even though I just got jumped, even though I cracked my ribs, broke my nose, my eye was swollen out to here, even though I was in so much pain, I just got jumped, I was healed in a few weeks, and it was like that never even happened. It was like I'm good. Bruises heal, who cares? And I even remember saying that on a daily basis, bruises heal, who cares? And I was very like insensitive to my own pain. And I was so clouded that I didn't see the pain that I was putting on myself. I didn't see the pain that I was causing my family. I just didn't see it. I didn't understand in that moment how bad my life was already as a teenager. But I was arrogant, you know? And in my mind, I'm like, oh, everyone loses fights. That's not normal. It's not normal to be 13 and get jumped by 5 girls. It's not normal. But I rationalized everything, and addiction also lies to us. It's the only disease that tells you you don't have a disease. It's the only disease that tells you that you're only hurting yourself. It's the biggest lie I've ever heard. Addicts hurt everyone around them. We're tornadoes and we don't see it. We're so blind from it. It's like we're living in a fog. So I'm very grateful to be sober, very grateful that I only have a couple of scars from that incident. I have a scar on my eyebrow, I have scars in my head, and I was also pistol whipped. If you guys have not seen that video, I will leave it on the card up here. So I do have scars from that. I have a scar on my lip from another incident that I will share with you guys. But I made it out of that life, and I'm not special, I'm not stronger, I'm not smarter. I just wanted to get sober. I feel like my entire life is a YouTube video, you know? Like, I've been through so much shit, but no mistake is too great to not recover and bounce back. I'm gonna end today's video here. If you are struggling with addiction, please reach out for help. It will be the hardest decision you ever make, but it'll be the best decision of your life. So pick up that 100-pound phone and ask for help. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, don't steal shit at parties, and I'll see you on my next one.